This butterfly starts off with a fairly close blanket stitch around this edge here, and then around this one, around here and around here, just to the tip. So not these bits, just here where the wings meet, and not along the top edge. And then we're going to do a raised chain band for the body, and then complete the wings in mainly fly stitch. So, as you know, to do a blanket stitch, start on the line, go down into the shape and come up through the loop. And if you are left-handed, you'll start over this side. So we're just going to do each stitch quite close together and quite small. So always come up on the line. And we're using the FS12 for this, the orangey lemony thread. And of course your crewel needle. Okay, now do exactly the same on the other side. So you can continue here and stitch all the way around, not up this line, and to the edge here. And now I'm going to put a split back stitch across these lines here. So this one, this one, this one and this one. So just to mark the shape of the wings, doesn't matter which order you do them in. Okay, so I'm going to do the other one the same. I may just put another little blanket stitch in the top there. I want it to be level with that top wing. And then we're going to do the raised chain band, and I'll show you on the practice hoop first. First of all, do a series of straight stitches like a ladder. And then I'm using a different coloured thread so that you can see. Come up using a tapestry needle at the top of the first stitch, and then take your needle under there to almost wrap around it. And then we're going to form a chain by going to the other side of that wrap and making your first stitch like that. And then the next stitch we're going to go under, so from bottom to top, and then make the chain by going to the other side of it and wrapping round. So from bottom to top to wrap it, and that gets it above the little ladder stitch, the straight stitches, make the chain. So up through, and make the chain. If you're left-handed, you'll simply go through with your left hand and you'll end up with doing the chain from the other side. So you'll take your needle through to the other side. So right-handed through, and then make your chain. So the only difference with left-handers is you'll make your chain, this will be on the other side. So through, make your final chain, and then back through the fabric to finish. Now we're going to do it on the butterfly, but all in one colour. So I'm using my crewel needle and the grey silk, and I'm going to start just a little bit above where you think you should start, because I want the first stitch to look like the head. So just do your ladder from one side to the other, all the way down the body. Don't do them too close together, as you'll find it quite difficult to get your needle through. And as I get down to the bottom here, I'm making my stitches slightly smaller. And now come up to the middle of the top, just above it. And I'm going to change to a tapestry needle to do the weaving. So if you remember, up through, it's almost a wrap for the first stitch, and then down through and make your chain. Don't pull it too tight. Then up through, and then go to the other side to make your chain. Up through and to the other side. And I think this makes quite a nice body, and you can see that the first stitch now looks like the head. So I'm not pulling my stitches too tight. That last one I'm going to pull a little bit tighter so it tapers off a little bit down the body, and then just take your needle down between the two wings there to finish. And now I think while we've got the thread, you can change to your crewel needle or just put these antennae in. Just a couple of straight stitches like that. And now we're going to fill in the wings. To fill in the wings, I've drawn some lines here just across the wing, so to cut the wing in half, and I'm going to do a couple of rows of open fly stitch. So come up somewhere here and take a stitch down, and then a little bit further up, sort of on the line or more or less, go to the left and then to the right, come up through the loop at the end of that stitch, and then take another stitch down, come up on the line, go to the left, up on the left, down on the right, and up through the loop at the end of that stitch. Take a stitch down, and you can judge when to finish, so that can be the end. And then I'm going to run my thread across the back, come back to almost where I started, and do another row. So take a stitch down, and then to the left, to the right, up through the loop, take a stitch. If you're left-handed, you'll come up to the right and go down on the left. That's the only difference. And everybody comes up through the loop. And down. And that's going to be my last one. And now you can do that on each of the wings. Obviously you can, got bits of thread caught here, obviously you can engineer what colours go, like I've got a yellow as a contrast against the orange there, which is quite nice, or you can just see how it turns out. So I will return when I've completed my wings. Now you can leave your butterfly like that, or you can put some markings just to split the wing in half where your blue lines were. Something like that. Just straight stitches. Like that. Not sure which I prefer, it's entirely up to you. We're now going to finish off this hexagon by putting some little drizzle stitch flowers in the corner. We're going to work a cluster of little drizzle stitches in the corner of your butterfly hexagon, and these are examples of drizzle stitches. They're sort of almost quite vertical French knots. If you look at them on the top, they look like French knots, but they're actually quite long and they sit vertically. Now it's useful to have a bigger needle if you've got one. It doesn't matter if you haven't. A darning needle or something with a fairly big eye and a long stem. A milliner's needle would be fine as well. So come up where you want the knot to be, and then you're going to take your needle down into the same hole and make a stitch. Doesn't matter how long it is, and then unthread the needle. And now we're going to do some cast on stitches on the shaft of the needle. So to cast on, put your forefinger upwards, turn and slip it on the needle. And you probably need 6 or 7, something like that. I've lost count. And then the next bit is to rethread your needle. And that's why it's good to have a bigger needle. And once rethreaded, take out the point slowly, just the point, leave the stitches in, and then bring the needle through the fabric and the thread, and then you've got your little upright drizzle stitch. So let's do that again. That's where you want your stitch. So put your needle in the same hole or next to, unthread it, and then cast on. I'm lifting up the end of my needle with my fingernail so it's easier to get the stitches on. You can do these as you can do as many stitches as you like, really. Rethread the needle. Don't forget to rethread the needle before you pull it through. And then take out just the end of the needle. And pull through. That one was a bit taller, I think. So now I'm going to attempt to show left-handers. As a left-hander, your needle will go in this way. So the end is just here. So I've come up here and my needle has gone in the same hole. So then you want to cast on. So round. Around the finger, turn the finger, and then put your stitch on. Around, turn, put your stitch. And then rethread the needle. And take it through. There you go.